Once you have a beginning idea of what you'd like to do for your point of interest, so I use this adjustment layers and I've messed with it. So you can see, like I use these things called levels, adjusted the contrast. So this is with that. I definitely think that stands out more. I mean, I know where I'm supposed to look. If I'm looking inside this wedge, I know where to go with that. It's pretty obvious. So here's how you do the last step. You're going to go ahead and grab the magic wand tool, which is right underneath the quick selection tool. Make sure it's set to contiguous. That's really, really important. And then just click anywhere inside the wedge. And what's going to happen, and oh yeah, you have to be on the layer. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. You have to be on the layer that has your template. So I'm not going to be on any of the other layers. I'm going to make sure I'm on the template layer, and I might even recall this template so I just know where that is. So I'm going to click on the template layer, grab the magic wand tool, make sure I'm contiguous, click. Okay. Then say edit, copy merged, and what that does is it copies all visible layers that you see, and then you paste, and it will automatically paste it on its own layer. So if I zip on down, and hopefully if I did this correctly, there should be somewhere in that layer a sense of something that really stands out. And also what you want to see when you look at this is a pie wedge. So if like you have a big swatch where you don't really see anything, go back and move stuff around so you can see something. So like see how there's like a little bit of flower down here at the point? That's kind of important. So if you don't see that, go back and change that. So we're going to do this 3 times, but before I do, I'm going to make, oops, that bug's sticking out. There we are. I'm going to make this one thing, and I'm also going to get rid of my guides for a second. So I'm going to click extras, get rid of that. So I just see that, and I'm going to go ahead and save this as, I'll call this Wedge 1, and I'm going to save this as a PNG. Okay, and that's the first one. The reason why I'm saving it as Wedge 1, and let me delete this because I did something different, is on slide, what is this, slide 8, slide 9? Slide 8. You're going to add that. So in other words, I'm going to go to graphic design. I've saved it here, and I think it's called Wedge 1, and it's not in the right folder, but that's okay. I'll put this in here, and there we go. And I have a lot of extra space, so I think I don't think it matters too much, but I'm going to go ahead and crop it down just a little bit so that doesn't get in the way. And I can even, if I want to, oopsie, too many slides. I can take that and move this down and maybe rotate it a little bit just so I can kind of see it a little bit better on here. But what I'm trying to do is make 3 of these. So version 1, version 2, version 3. And you're actually not going to fill this out, the rest of this. Click away, so that's not there anymore. So that looks pretty good. What you're going to do is once you have 3 wedges on here, you're going to ask a classmate, someone who does not sit directly next to you, to look at your slide. And everybody has to do this. So everybody's going to critique at least one other person's work. And they're going to look at your slide and they're going to say, once you have 3 wedges done, they're going to try to identify where the point of interest is. Hopefully it'll be obvious. And then what technique did the graphic designer use to create emphasis? So in this particular case, I would definitely say color is the most obvious example of it. So just to show you again, I go back to Photoshop, I have to create 2 more wedges. So I have to modify this now in some way. Let's see if I bring this down, bring up the red bug, and make that invisible. That would be helpful. Make all these visible. That would also be helpful. So the red bug doesn't look that interesting right now, but if I go to image, adjustments, and I'm going to go, so I'm just adjusting that one layer and slide this back and forth. Aha! And I'll make this a truly red bug again. Why not? If I can figure out how. It's not letting me. There we go. So I think that stands out pretty clearly right there. So if I'm happy with that, go back to template. Again, this keeps popping up when I don't want it to. Set to contiguous. I'm on the template layer. Say edit copy. Edit, actually, nope. Edit copy merged. I did it again. Edit paste. And bam. Make everything else invisible. And I would argue that I've definitely made a definitive point of interest, which is very different from the original one, which is up here. So see, very different. So now I'm going to take that and again do the same thing. So file, Save as, I'll call this wedge 2, and save it as a PNG. And again, I will take that PNG and I will put it in here so that it's ready to be analyzed by a classmate at some point. And I keep going to different slides. Here we go. And again, you don't even have to crop the image. It's transparent, so you could just kind of rotate it and put it in place, and no one's going to know the difference. But hopefully you have a definitive point of interest. So create 3 different wedges with 3 different point of interests and put them in your slide.